This is a green turtle, a beautiful turtle, yeah, eating up seagrass. Hawksbill feeding on sponges. Too complicated. You can see for yourself. So a little bit of the history. I think in the world of reptiles, we owe much more than we can ever repay to Rom. Rom was the one who initiated the snake park, Rom was the one who initiated the crocodile bank, Rom was the one who was initiating the King Cobra project and all the work in Andaman Nicobar. And he is also the one who initiated the turtle conservation in India. He and a couple of friends began turtle conservation in Chennai coast. For the first time in India, all over India, the first turtle conservation happened in Chennai coast in the 1970s. So here he is in action. This is another guy, amazing guy, very proud guy of formerly from Madras. He studied in the IIT Madras. I hear that more time than he spent in the campus and classes he spent in the sea. He was one guy who would swim the seas looking for turtles. You know, all over India, all that we know about turtle nesting sites comes from this just one guy who has walked barefoot all over India in the Andaman, Lakshadweep, and recorded every single nesting site of the turtles. Today he doesn't speak, he's very reclusive, lives quietly in Goa. Last year he was given an award, international award for lifetime achievement. He refused to come and accept it even, so Rom accepted it on his behalf. Here he is with some 30 sea snakes on his neck just to prove that they are not dangerous. Yeah. So when Rom initiated this and proved that it's a viable method of conservation, these various agencies got into it. This is Central Marine Fisheries, the WWF was there, the Tamil Nadu Forest Department, and there was a guy called Deepankar Ghosh from Prakriti. All these people are the initial players in the turtle conservation. In the late 70s to the 80s, these are the agencies which took up conservation and did it for about 10 years. In 1988, SSTC and the Student Sea Turtle Conservation Network was born and has been at it since then. Yeah, so turtle conservation has been going on for about 36 years, out of which SSTC has been doing it for 24 years. These are the initial guys who founded it. You know, this man, the guy to the right with specs, is Karthik Shankar. Till today he is involved in turtle conservation. Last year he was the president of the International Sea Turtle Society. It's a it's a rotational post, so he was there for a year. And these girls and the guy at the back called Tito Chandy, all these were Madras Christian College students, and they are the guys who started it. Tito Chandy since then worked with Greenpeace and now runs an ecotourism company. Yeah, this is how the hatchery looked like. This is how the Chennai coast looked like in the 80s. Yeah, this is one of our first hatcheries. Yeah, so basically the way SSTCN functions is a voluntary group. So all these years it's not been very organized in the sense that people who are interested in turtles come and join us in the season, and we try and spend as less money as possible. So the only cost we incur is really that of the hatchery, which we tend to keep using for 4 to 5 years. Yeah. This is what the swanky new hatchery looks like, a bit like a circus tent, but that is because the heat is so much that we need to cover it with jute material. We are yet to do it this year, but we will shortly be doing it. Yeah. These are individual nests covered in baskets. Yeah, so basically we conduct this weekend walks on Fridays and Saturdays for public. So it's a hugely popular activity. Sometimes we wonder too popular because we're not able to manage the crowds which come, and like yesterday we had some 70 people walking with us. Some from, I don't know where they came from, they're from Hilton. They came from Hilton in their swanky vehicle and they walked, we didn't know. Yeah, so yeah, this is a bunch of Alcott students with me. Yeah. We even have one of our favorite walkers are the students of Spastic Society who come in their wheelchairs and who are so enthusiastic and join us year after year. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of interesting things get thrown up, and so we also get to understand through dead organisms, but what lives in the sea. Yesterday we saw, for instance, we saw cowfish and cowfish and what else? Something else. I don't know. Various interesting crabs, yeah, and whatever. Yeah. Huh? Huh? Sardine. Yeah, so starfish, sea snakes, sometimes they are alive and we release them back. Starfish are also alive, we put them back in the sea. We saw about 10 days back when Rakesh came, we saw porpoise. We saw dead, but we saw porpoise. Yeah, in the evenings we release hatchlings from our hatchery, to which we invite people who really are too young to walk or too old. So on almost everyday basis we release hatchlings, and that's Akila with the children. So every evening, yesterday we released about 95 hatchlings. Often we have hatchlings to release. It's nice to have children releasing them because there's a sense of bonding and relationship with them. Yeah, we estimate about 25,000 people have walked with us over the years. So these turtles, because somehow people get drawn to turtles, it's just use turtles to bring awareness about what's happening in the world of nature. So sometimes on the walk we actually get to see nesting turtles, and that's the best if it ever happens. This year she has managed to elude us completely. Not even one public walk have we seen a nesting turtle. Yeah. So this is how we find nests. These are our volunteers, students who use these metal probes to look for nests. So once we find the eggs, we put them in bags. We measure the nest because each turtle makes a specific size nest. So we measure the nest and then we relocate it, and release it. Yeah, through the years, it's a very floating group of people. So a lot of people come, they walk for a couple of years or 1 year or 3 years or whatever, and then they move on. So over the years, our guys have gone on to become marine biologists, filmmakers, researchers, whatever. A lot of them have been continue to contribute to nature. Yeah, this is the old figure. I think it's close to 150,000. 150,000, yeah, hatchlings over the years. Yeah. So our biggest problem, not biggest problem, definitely a problem is garbage. Dogs on the beaches which dig up nests, and of course people, and lights. The biggest problem is lights, and more lights are being added on over the years, and mast lights so powerful that it can be seen for a kilometer or two, no, actually more. Yeah. So some things that we have managed to gain over the years is this man, Sundar Raju, was a chief wildlife warden. Last year he retired. He was so supportive and good, so he helped us in some ways, in many ways actually. One of the things he did was, these mast lights, we have been petitioning for years that there should not be any mast lights, or at least the mast light should be switched off during the hatchling season, and he actually managed to get a government order passed. And we have the mast lights, these are lights. They're off now. So if you see this time of the year, at least from Neelangarai to Elliott's Beach, you will find that after 10 p.m. these lights are switched off. It's not the biggest thing, but it definitely helps to have a darker beach. Yeah. The another thing is, like you might know that after tsunami, that the forest department decided to plant casuarina as a what do they call it, tsunami breaker or whatever. Like, you know, they said that if a future tsunamis, that the casuarina would stop them from tsunami from coming in, which is complete rubbish, of course. It was just a money spinning scheme. But here it was right up to the turtle nesting area, the casuarina had been planted. And again we fought, and a lot of people felt that we are really a small group, we shouldn't be taking on something big. We didn't get support from most other conservation groups, with the exclusion of Shekhar Dattatreya alone, who was with us and really took it ahead. And the forest department actually finally agreed to inspect it. We are putting pressure through the World Bank, and we got a government order. These are our feathers in our cap, 2 government orders, one for the lights off, and another, actually the government forest department cut the casuarina and for about 30 meters and allowed the turtles to nest again. Yeah, we take part in other programs again using turtles. Like this is this was what, 350. Yeah, this is the 350. You guys might have heard of the 350. I mean, to keep the carbon dioxide limit within 350, there's a group called 350.org. So a year before last, we made a giant sea turtle on the sand to bring awareness about it. We joined hands with Greenpeace to protest about the port, Damra port. Not that we succeeded. We also do like Terukuthu and stuff like that to bring awareness. Yeah, we participated in various research projects. One of the things we used to do is, this year we have not done for some reason, but we used to drop this what's called data loggers inside nests. So a nest in January, a nest in February, a nest in March, to see what temperature the eggs are facing, during the time that they are there inside. Like you might know that the sea turtles, like other reptiles, when the time of laying eggs, eggs being laid, they are gender neutral. So there's no male or female eggs being laid. So the temperature decides the gender, and for each species the temperature varies. For olive ridley, there's a pivotal temperature called 28.4, so above which is female and below which is male, but there's a range up to which it can go. So we wanted to measure and see what, with climate change and all that, what temperatures are actually the eggs are facing, and we found that it is well above the pivotal temperature, to the point that where some other turtles just get baked, the young ones just get baked and none of them survive. But there is a growing fear that all over the world that only female turtles are being born, which will completely harm the balance, you know. So that is some project we took part in. And we also, the dead hatchlings, when you look at a hatchling, you can't make out whether it's male or female. So all dead hatchlings from a nest we would collect and put it in formalin and send it to the lab to see if there is a male turtles being born or what is the ratio and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, so these are some of the guys. When looking back, it's quite interesting that so many of them have gone on to do interesting things. Divya is from the NCF. Nina Subramani has become a wildlife filmmaker. Nandikesh is in Greenpeace. Joseph Raja got an award recently for wildlife filmmaking. Adit has spent the nights in Andaman tagging leatherbacks. Yeah, a lot of guys. Dilip Gunagopal is after tigers. Sanjeev is in Greenpeace. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on like that. Yeah. Yeah, we like working with other organizations. CTC is our, I think, newest partner. So we like working with other organizations who are like-minded and doing programs with them, because basically those who are interested in nature, and unfortunately we are still a pitiful small number, we have to get together and do what we can. So this is moving on to the next thing. I'll kind of move faster now. I live now in Thiruvannamalai, and I joined hands with another group there. So I live on this is from my house. We are trying to afforest the Thiruvannamalai hill. The hill, this is how the hill looked for the, most of the last 50, 60, 70 years. Completely barren with one patch of green where there was a ashram. Yeah, very dry, horrible. We say Thiruvannamalai, people say hot. Shouldn't be doing such gestures. Yeah, but in the 1988, there was an Australian lady who began afforestation in the Thiruvannamalai hill. And for about 12, 13 years, all the planting, they did a lot of planting. They did stone, guards around each tree sapling. You can see that she was Australian because there's Australian acacia planted. You know, my mistake, of course, way back. Yeah, and most of it will be lost to fires. So though there was a lot of planting happening from 88, by year 2000 there was nothing much to show. Just every year grazing, fires, everything would go. And then this chap came along. His name is Govinda. He's British, and he said, okay, let's combat the fire. And he has done two things. One is set up a firefighting crew, and another is cutting fire breaks. We'll tell you about that. Yeah, and planting the right species, not Australian acacias or whatever, but planting trees from the Javadimalai. So we go to Javadimalai. This is the time of the year when we every week we are in Javadimalai looking for the seeds of the native trees there. Yeah, this is the number of seeds that we collect, and we raise about 20,000 saplings a year, all native varieties, more than 100 species. Yeah, this is our nursery, and every year during the monsoon we plant about 15 to 20,000 saplings on the hill, and using local villagers. This is one particular section where there were some trees planted by the forest department, but as you can see, neat rows and single species. Like, that's classical government work. We are trying to break that up. Yeah, and we also work with local school children there, and children are involved in planting. We have a park at the base of the hill where we use boards like this to bring awareness about birds and trees and various things there. We are lucky to have an artist who is extremely good at bird watching and painting. So he paints birds beautifully. And we have over the years created a crew of firefighters who now every time there's a fire, like in the last 5 fires, everything was put out within the first half an hour. So nothing spread more than the size